Itch. I'm much obliged, my dear madame. The final entry here is Kazuma's diary. It consists of just two short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound. These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band. What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say. The man was presumably referring to that. To the lattice on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record. So I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, as if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter? No? There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no reclination into naming you as the culprit at any point. Yes, you do. You must be joking. You just said it, only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit and you play the part more convincingly, roll over and accept your fate. Haha. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go investigate the cabin next door as well. Hey, nice. Hello. The Kazuma-sama spent his dying moment struggling to leave us a clue. You're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Is that? Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Back in a second. Why do you always hydrate redeem when I go and get a fucking pop? I hate you. What can I do for you? It can't be. Hi. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonoga. Pardon me if reading just gets cut off for a second. Hello again. Oh my god. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Listen, why are you dressed as a member of the crew? He can't reveal it. You have a missing crown he's probably investigating, or maybe the girl. I take full responsibility for what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. Oh, that's different than what I thought. Miniature Justice Jigoku, who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. How could that even be a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. We should be prepared for all eventualities. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated. Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now. Posing as one of the crew. I see. So he didn't do his job! And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board from morning until night. Every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, and not here on first class deck. Oh, we're on first class, too. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I am a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. If there's anything at all I can do to help now, say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer. Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you moved, even touched the handle of the cabin door. Stormy-looking seaman there would certainly snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm gonna need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it, really. I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. I don't see how. There may be a way. What, really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, not by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence. It's the same as when you are in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel, choose some evidence. Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote what it looks like some kind of speckled brand is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band, yes. We're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. The ventilator clearly joins the next door cabin. Alright, so if we could investigate in there, we'll be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? Ahem. I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Usagi-san safe. The least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruto. Just select move and we can leave the cabin at last. What the fuck is that on the bottom left? Whew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation. Looks like a mousetrap. Kazuma-sama was being sent to the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch. And he looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. The door next to him leads to a second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. Suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Naruto-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd been used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know. But the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I came aboard, and ever since then I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. Must have been a very trying time for you. Please don't give me that pitying look. Ah, shrimp for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese. I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruto-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really. But... I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. What do you think this is? A very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship. And brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. Yeah, sure. What are you doing, Nadahoto-san? You must not touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring the vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop. The ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Looks like a plan of the SS Budia. It shows each deck. Look. The Budia is a large-scale steamship with triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but... how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple. Nadahoto-san. It is. Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan. Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many times larger than that of the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. That does not actually answer the question. What's the books for? That's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Can we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise, every detail about the voyage has been meticulously reported. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have a beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Nadahoto-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid. You deserve it. Oh, we seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, said Asada-san. I'm not a sailor. My mother gave me a name. I'm a senior crewman. Beef stroganoff. The best thing is to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Buria's steamship, for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. That's why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. Somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you into the ocean. But Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering... is the cabin next to Mr. Osogi's currently occupied? Da. Sasada-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes. If Kazuma went on this voyage and died, Japan would have a hissy fit, man. Especially in early Japan when they were picking up vital information. It is not permitted to visit each other's cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it is tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Osogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He's a very important Western gentleman. Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of the student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is an authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in a lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us, Mr. when Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. I think this guy's smarter than he's letting on. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Ah, all the time. Criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder. Could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about Student Boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Hurt! Sasada-san, do you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way. I said no. Sorry. I'm not sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. So we have some doubt here. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh, it's time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area staying locked all times. You escape with the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Last night's log is mostly blank. There was nothing to report. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin helped solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Knock, knock. What troubles me is the sailor said something funny, and it's really off. Why, if he said royalty, that's one thing, right? Who stays there? Political people, royalty, but he says people hiding, or royalty hiding in secret, which it doesn't just mean royalty. It means that some royalty's hiding in secret here. What if it's her? Or it could be... Okay, my bets are him dressed up as her or her dressed up as him. One of the two. That'd be amazing. Okay, let's go in. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help us with our inquiry. How annoying. What was that? Yeah, people that want to travel in secret is what he means. But he said royalty. Doesn't he say royalty travels in secret? What was that? It came from inside the cabin. It's a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes, I shan't be stopped. When it fits me, I travel and kicking doors off the hinges. Kings and queens, yes. She not a... The door doesn't appear to be bolted. How do I do so I dispatch the muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should just go in. There's no real time to think about stress leave. Who are you? It has to be. I think it's her. And she dressed up as him. And she saw a mouse. That's such a fucking big observation. Look at this nose! This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, the old man doesn't appear to be the only person in here. But in the case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you! Please excuse the intrusion, but... you are Mr. Granby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are? I'm the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You heard of me, no doubt? No. I am the great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you may trust me completely. The man used the magazine with the business card. A detective. I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. Ow! So might I be so bold to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid. How can anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days. Is it not, traveling inside one's trunk? Don't look at me. Oh, it's... My, did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah, the case just shook. Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward. So this is Cosimo's neighbor, Mr. Granby Roylott. Strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Can we not? What do you think you're doing? Ah. This is my cabin. Get out. Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No. Huh. What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get us somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great power to detection into service. Oh, and it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually. You're spot on, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host and his captain, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And you know what the most effective weapon is to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please. Well then, what are you about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be more a hack-eyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of the Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you. Or anyone. That's right, Mr. Schultz. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting. But I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. Bias is a judgment. I must have a complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering on my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing the most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Was it not? Oh no, hold on, I never imagined I would do this one of the film's great deduction with my own eyes. That was a great deduction. Nothing to deceive Mr. Schultz. In a single glance, you can deduce all there is to know about a person. What ineffable battles. Oh yeah, I read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And now I experience the astonishing impact of this great deduction firsthand. It's like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. Looks like somehow both of Sholmes' conclusions were right. How could you? How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say? Yeah, sure. How about now? I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The game is afoot. This is cool. So the dubious-looking Russian Mr. Roulette obviously what catches his eye in the first place. Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now moving on. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light upon the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front-page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity, article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you had to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are a fearsome revolutionary himself, violent Bolshevik. Now that I've heard you myself, you understand. But you're wrong! Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have propensity to lead their eyes astray, you see. And I assure you the eye speaks so much more eloquently, and honestly, than the mouth. The answer we seek lies within that furtive glance fall. Proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that's a traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask. By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, or one slight enough to fit there within. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? You careless Kupto Doolo, you traitor. Once again, we only need to follow your fatal glance and find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of the newspaper. Another article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of Novoraj Ballet disappears from Shanghai. The headline can lead us to one conclusion. Do you really think someone in ballet can fit in? The crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Elemensky? Elemensky. Sato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, stories are full of Holmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different, somehow. Excuse me, Sholmes, could you come over here a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there was the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but... these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier. And at the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Warlock does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child in that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, does she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. Oh. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain illness is the lithiness of their bodies. Vinegar. For such a sour bunch, it would simply be simplicity itself to contort oneself in the confines of that small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, this whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deduction just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mr. Sato. One or two keywords in the deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactically switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some keywords in his deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I feel like we could do that. We'd unlock the true genius of Sholmes' great deduction. How does anyone put up with you? Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry. Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists. Where are your handcuffs? Huh? How? How did... I felt like they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dancing deduction. I don't believe it. Sholmes, you're a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles on your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried, in fact. I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Proud to present Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Okay. Course correction. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beer? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means I suppose that the deduction is wrong. Let's try switch a keyword here, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. What if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on? Exactly. If you manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Shum's deduction better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hand, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was he really going to use those enormous shears for? Man, this Russian guy has some amazingly long hair. But we're going to cut off his penis. Just kidding. What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, the color is not the point. The point is what they're doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head. And how it's growing out from underneath his thick black hair. Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
Hi! I like this. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed. You have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman. And judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question to make is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have a clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity. Article about the revolutionary. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea the old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo-san, you're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room, deducing the facts with Mr. Shoulders. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. Strictly business. No, strictly come. Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Chum's deduction, shall we? Evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all, now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. Suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try hide her true identity. I feel as though I have either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best.
Yes!
Hi! By the way, I'm replacing every yes with hi from now on. The evidence that reveals your true identity of course is the article about the ballerina. When he says yes, it's a badly translated hi. Yeah, that's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Hi kind of has two meanings. Like, it can mean yes, like, Earl, did you go to the washroom? Hi! Right? Yes, I went to the washroom. But it also could mean, Does anyone know the answer to question 4? Hi! And I think he's doing that. He's kind of like getting attention. It would appear that we are able to finally address you by your true name. No, I think objection is still objection. Because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. I just think it's like weird within the system. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Is he dead? Is she dead? Damn, those are some cool eyes, man. Those are staring you in the death. Staring you in the face, man. You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlina. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Yes, Miss Pavlina. Like an unawares, people have propensity to let their eyes astray, you see. I remember hearing the Japanese word for objection, but let's put this in Jisho for a second. Iggy? And I assure you the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies within the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, the traveling case. This woman is a ballerina and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside the traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime that this young woman is apparently committing? I can see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. Yeah. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else in here that shows what this woman is up to. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, do you think? Oh, Naruhodo-san, try it on. What, me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. Far too beautiful. Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently.
Yes!
Hi! Proof for your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, that would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if people reporting this is believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles, aka a fuck ton. In summary, the crime we have committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. I have no one. No family, no friends. I am all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia? It belongs to me. Hey, I'm in the game. Okay, I'm done. This girl is only 15 years old, and she runs away all by herself. I'm well aware that Earl and Preston mean royalty, and so does Cardinal, in a Catholic sense. Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point in hiding it now. Come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open the traveling case of yours in our presence. Is it reasonable to conclude that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed? Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I've ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless trip with Doyle betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written on the books in the shelf. What the fuck are you talking about? He completely changed tack with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the change log of circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf all in? Just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true. But still... What is it? Someone climbing a steep mountainside. Or descending one, it seems to me. When you've been on the flat sea for so long, maybe you start seeing the hills and mountains and everything. She has a pet! Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Is it a cat? Is it a cat?
Yes!
Hi! Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case, written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on the vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would have moved out of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlina. Inside your traveling case... it's the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules. A passage, a pet. That's what I was wondering, actually. Elementary. So clearly you aren't who you said you were. No, I am not Grimesby Royalot. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. Open. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard the vessel, which couldn't have been easy. The Bury has a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman, and you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet, to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let the scream out when we heard outside the cabin? The veritable thinking bell? Why, not other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai, I was sure that they would have come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself, so that no one would recognize me, disguise myself. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man. I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew if I didn't change my appearance completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and... at the precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes. Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? Might as well show us. You were right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say any to the crew. Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night.